During a child's life, they spend almost 16,380 hours at school, which is roughly 2 years. In that time, they will learn how to solve math problems, understand the wonders of science, improve their reading and writing skills, and explore history. But beyond academics is one of the most crucial pieces of school and is socialization. It's where children learn how to interact with others, build friendships, and navigate communication and teamwork skills. At the center of all this learning, both academic and social, are teachers. Teachers do far more than just deliver lessons. They shape minds, grow confidence, and create environments where students feel safe and encouraged to grow. A teacher's words and actions can leave lasting impressions, influencing a child's self-esteem, motivation, and future goals. Think about it. A child might forget the details of a history lesson, but they'll always remember the teacher who made learning more exciting. They might struggle with a tough math problem, but they'll never forget the teacher who patiently guided them through it. A moment from a teacher can spark a lifelong love for a subject or inspire students to push through challenges they once thought were impossible. Teachers also play a critical role in recognizing students' individual strengths and struggles. They act as mentors, guiding them through both academic and personal obstacles. They provide support when students feel discouraged and celebrate their successes, no matter how small. In most cases, a teacher is one of the first adults outside of a child's family to believe in them, which can make all the difference. Beyond that, teachers model essential life skills like kindness, resilience, empathy, and problem solving. The way a teacher treats their students, the respect they show, and the patience they give all contribute to shaping the kind of people their students will become. The impact of a great teacher goes far beyond the classroom. Years later, students may not recall every fact they learned in school, but they will always remember the teacher who made them feel seen, valued, and capable. Teachers don't just educate, they inspire, uplift, and change lives. This is why the role of a teacher is one of the most important in society, because when you shape a child's mind, you shape the future.
I taught in Anderson Community Schools for 30 years. All of it was in elementary school, kindergarten through 6th grade. I believe I taught every grade level except 6th. And I also taught academic advancement, which was enrichment in science and math to the whole school, including special needs students.
So I have taught 6th, 7th, and 8th grade in Indianapolis Public Schools for 26 years. I started as a special education teacher with 6th graders, and then I came to School 91, which is where I've been teaching since, and I taught middle school, 7th and 8th grade. Mostly math, but I've taught all the subjects: math, science, language arts, social studies throughout my career. And currently I've switched positions again, and now I teach pre-K through 5th grade in STEM classes. So I am now a STEM teacher instead of a middle school math teacher.
For many teachers, their drive for the profession comes from a simple, I had a teacher who changed my life. Inspired by someone who made a lasting impact on them, they want to follow in those footsteps, hoping to make the same differences for future generations. For others, the motivation comes from a love of learning and a goal to share that knowledge. Some are drawn to teaching because they have a passion for the particular subject and want to give their interest to their students. Family ties also play a big role. Many teachers grew up in a household where education was a central part of their life. Maybe their mother was a teacher or their grandparents were a teacher. Regardless of the reason, every teacher steps into the classroom with a purpose to educate and leave lasting impacts on their students.
I think the positive role models that I had in elementary school myself as I was growing up, I had many teachers who made a difference for me. And when I look back, I think that's probably the biggest factor in becoming a teacher.
It's a few things. When I was in middle school myself, I had a social studies teacher who was not very good, and he treated the students in a way where we felt less than. And I thought, well, I can do this better. Like, I can make teenagers feel good about themselves. I can't. So that's kind of how it started. Is I was 13, and I'm like, I can do this better. Right? Like, young people, middle schoolers need to feel like they're cared for and that they're important and that people like them and that they can do big things. And so that's kind of how it started. And then I worked a lot in high school with younger students, either through cadet teaching or peer mediation. And I really found a love for working with younger kids and helping them learn and grow and be better humans. And so that's led me down this path.
Whether you have a large group or just a few students, keeping their attention makes sure they absorb and retain information more effectively. Engagement encourages curiosity, thinking, and a deeper understanding of the subject. When students are actively involved, they participate more, ask questions, and stay motivated. This not only boosts their academic success, but also creates a more enjoyable classroom environment. By using interactive teaching methods, real-world applications, and encouraging curiosity. Teachers can help students stay focused and interested in their learning.
I think the hands-on activities, the engaging activities that are of interest to them probably are the biggest factors.
To do high interest activities, so like reel them in right away with some high interest activities. And so like with the kindergartners we were just talking about, we start almost every class period with a song or a dance or some kind of movement, because if they can move and engage right away, then they're more willing to listen. Sometimes we'll do stories that bring them into what we're going to study. I do a lot of looping, and so what did we talk about last week, so that they can remember what we did do and then bring that back into what we're doing now. And so that way they always feel like they're part of the system or the education.
While keeping your students engaged is important, managing bad behavior is also crucial to keeping the classroom environment calm. Though doing this the wrong way can also damage your relationship with that student. Yelling at a student is the easiest way to damage a student's self-esteem and break that relationship. The student is also more likely to escalate and become defensive. It is important for the teacher to set boundaries and give consequences so they know before that they make that decision. It is also important for the teacher to stay calm in this situation and not further escalate the situation.
We start with reminders of what the appropriate behaviors are and redirection on making sure that they come back to the way it's supposed to be. And then if the behaviors persist, there has to be consequences. And it's all dependent on the age level of kiddos. Most of the time now, with teaching the younger kids, they want to be part of the classroom and want to be part of the community. And so if you just say you have to go sit in the hallway until you can pull yourself together, that makes them really sad. And they go to the hallway and they sit there for a few minutes and are super sad because they can't be part of the community, and then they come back better. Now that doesn't work with middle schoolers, right? That consequences have to be a little more strict or severe with middle schoolers, because they're okay to sit in the hallway and do nothing because that's okay to do. And so you have to think of more creative ways to give consequences to older kids. But little kids just want to be part of the room. And so threatening or sending them to the hallway and removing them from the community is huge. But mostly discipline in the classroom is all about relationships. And so if I have not worked to create the relationship with the child, we're probably going to have more discipline problems and behavior problems in the classroom, because they don't feel like I like them or that I'm connected to them. And so they're going to act out to get my attention or to show that, you know, they're powerful or that they have a voice or whatever. And so it's my job as a teacher, and it's all jobs as teachers, that we have to create those relationships with the kids, because if we don't create those, then you're going to have bigger behavior problems in the classroom. And so you can see that in the building about what teachers do create positive relationships and what teachers don't, because the behavior problems are so much bigger in those classrooms where the relationship isn't created. But redirection, reminding, and reinforcement. Those are your 3 R's of classroom management.
Keeping a calm and structured classroom is key, and while discipline plays a role, the real key is understanding your students and what works best for their learning. When you take time to learn how they learn best, students not only absorb more information, but they also stay engaged and are less likely to be disruptive. In today's classroom, that means recognizing every student brings a unique background, culture, and learning style.
I think you meet the student where they are. You learn what their challenges are. You learn what they are capable of doing, and I used a lot of hands-on activities. Always made sure that I kept their interests in mind, and also tried to engage parents in the process.
Well, start with that relationship building, and try to get to know kids and who they are and what they need. That's your first step always. And then you have to differentiate. You look at what the needs are in the class. Sometimes that means, when I was teaching middle school, that meant creating math groups. And so based on what kids' needs were, you create different math groups so you can address their needs. And a classroom like I teach now, where I have just all these second graders, I try to level my expectations for what those kids need. And
Pulling all of this together, we start to see the bigger picture. What do teachers truly do to impact the lives of their students? Beyond everything we've discussed, teachers help shape how students see themselves and the world around them. In every classroom, they are more than just instructors. They're mentors, role models, and even sometimes a second family. And this raises the important point. A teacher's influence goes far beyond academics. It reaches into the hearts of a child development itself. So what do teachers really play in helping children grow? And how does their impact compare to the ones made at home?
I think teachers play a huge role in child development, because when parents send their kids to school every day, it's our job to take over on what parents do. And so teaching them the basic skills of being human, right? How to, be polite and kind, how to work in a group, how to socialize appropriately, how to express your feelings in a healthy way. At home, parents do those things too, but they don't have a multitude of children to practice with, right? And so we often see in a family that has an only child, that child sometimes struggles here in the school environment because they've gotten along with adults in their home, but they don't know how to interact with kids. And so we have to, as teachers, help them learn how to get along with each other and how to work cooperatively together and how to apologize or take responsibility when you make a mistake, and make it right, and how to do all of those skills that have to happen within a community of other children instead of at a house that's just a parent, or even if you have siblings, at a much larger thing, in a much larger community, because there are so many different personalities in a classroom that the kids have to learn how to get along with everybody successfully. And I think that we as teachers have a huge responsibility to make that happen. Also, to help each child feel important in themselves. And so, how do I feel important as an individual and also as a person of this community? And how do we make that happen? So it's huge. It's huge.
Well, I think that teachers can have a big impact on a child's self-worth, how they view themselves, whether they feel that they can accomplish the tasks that are set at hand. I think since teachers are with students so many hours of the day and weeks and months and years, I think we can have a big impact on their development. I'm not sure it's as great as a parent's, but I think it is a factor in their development.
No, parents definitely make a bigger impact on their kids because they're with them more hours of the day and they're with them for their entire lives, where often teachers are only with kids for a year. Now, we're unique here at 91, where all the elementary kids, the preschool, kindergarten kids, the elementary kids, and the upper elementary kids have their teacher for more than 1 year in a row. And so that teacher really does get to know them, but that's only for a 3-year cycle. And then they move on to another teacher. So I think parents make a bigger impact, but I don't think would be wise to diminish the impact teachers can make, either positively or negatively, on a child. And so we have to be really conscientious as teachers to always be making a positive impact on the kids and not damaging them in the process. But parents definitely have a bigger impact than teachers do. Again, positive or negative.
I can't say that it's the same as parents, but I think it's a close connection that students have with teachers, and so I think they can have an impact, but I don't really see that it's as great as parents.
In every corner of the world, teachers quietly shape the future, one student at a time. They balance academics with life lessons, structure with empathy, and discipline with understanding. The impact of their work stretches far beyond the walls of the classroom. It leaves a mark on the character, dreams, and resilience of the next generation. Teachers plant the seed they may never see fully grow, but their influence on lives in every student who dares to dream, to lead, and care for others. As we move forward, the question becomes not just how teachers shape children, but how we as a society can better support the people who dedicate their lives to shaping all of us. Because when we invest in teachers, we invest in the future.